Some things, it seems, last forever. Like the sea, the sky, the sun, and the mountains. There is an idea that man can remain free. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt do no murder. Thou shalt not covet. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. This is Harry Von Zell to tell you the story of a man who has embraced and defended these ideas for more than 65 years. Raymond Cyrus Hoiles, a man against the tide. Sunday, November 24th, 1968, R.C. Hoiles will be 90 years of age. His name is known by hundreds of thousands of newspaper readers. So are his ideas. But what about the man? How do people think of R.C. Hoiles, who to most of them is just a name? They may not know him personally, but they know of him. In their opinion, what sort of a man is he?
R.C. Hoiles is a strong man who has firm principles, giving both sides of the news on the news pages and printing his ideas on the editorial page.
As far as I personally am concerned, he helped stimulate me to think, and I consider that a debt that I will always owe him.
Well, I think he's been by far the influencing factor in Orange County, which has made Orange County have the image of being the most, of course many people use the word conservative. I think I'd rather use the term logical.
I'm sorry, I've never heard of him.
R.C. Hoiles, well, I'll say one thing about this man. Well, I took, for example, the tax-supported school system for granted. This man and his philosophy have given me an opportunity to think the entire situation over and decide for myself.
If all men had the convictions that R.C. Hoiles has and fought for them with as much determination and hard work, this would be a much greater world in which to live.
I think Mr. Hoiles is an educator of the highest caliber.
He is more consistent in his beliefs than most people in political life.
I think R.C. Hoiles is to be admired because he has maintained his activities past an age where many people sort of sit back and relax, and he firmly believes in his own convictions.
Even in that issue, when he knew, I'm sure, it was going to be an unpopular position, he was still consistent in his belief that a person should be able to do what they would, not only with their own property, but with their own person. Yeah, I think Mr. Hoiles is Orange County's misfortune.
But those who know him best think of R.C. Hoiles as an educator. At least that's what he has come to be in the last quarter century. Perhaps all that went before was preparation. Yet still he challenges ideas and seeks to have his own tested. And he does it daily in an arena of mass communication. At age 90, R.C. Hoiles heads a newspaper publishing corporation which produces 15 daily newspapers from coast to coast. His newspapers go into almost 400,000 homes each day. And every day, R.C. is at his desk, checking the state of his business, examining ideas, encouraging someone to think. It has been this way longer than most of us have been alive. The man who today is president of Freedom Newspapers Incorporated has said he does not care whether unthinking men call him friend. In this office, he studies the masters of literature and culture. It is they who have become his friends. Raymond Cyrus Hoiles was born in this Alliance, Ohio house in 1878. His father, Samuel Harrison Hoiles, was a well-to-do farmer, from whom the son may have inherited his keen business judgment. R.C.'s sister, Mrs. Effie Hoiles Hillis, still lives in the family home, more than a century after her parents first occupied the 104-year-old dwelling. R.C. also had two older brothers, and it was here he attended grammar school, across the road from his home. It was while he was a student at Mount Union College in Ohio that R.C. decided to forego a career as an electrical engineer, and he became a printer's devil for $2 a week at the Alliance Review, then owned by his brother Frank. In 1905, he bought a 1/3 interest in the paper. In 1919, he and his brother purchased the Lorain, Ohio Times-Herald, and 2 years later, the Mansfield, Ohio News. He eventually sold all three, but by then, he owned the Bucyrus, Ohio Telegraph Forum. In 1935, R.C. came to Santa Ana, California, and purchased the Register, which was later to become his flagship paper with a circulation of 132,000. The early days in California were not without their fights, however, a matter R.C. took in stride. After battling against the courageous newspaperman from Ohio for 4 years, millionaire publisher William Scripps folded up his competition paper, never to return. Also in 1935, Hoiles purchased the Clovis, New Mexico News Journal. The following year, he added the Pampa, Texas Daily News. The Colorado Springs Gazette Telegraph was acquired in 1946, as was the Marysville, California Appeal Democrat. 2 years later, he purchased the Odessa, Texas American. And in 1951, he added the Brownsville Herald, the McAllen Valley Monitor, and the Harlingen Valley Morning Star. In 1956, Hoiles obtained the Lima, Ohio News, then waited for 5 years before buying the Anaheim, California Bulletin. In 1963 came the La Habra, California Daily Star Brea Progress. And in 1965, the Turlock, California Daily Journal. Most recent to become a freedom newspaper is the North Carolina Gastonia Gazette. Yes, R.C. Hoiles has come a long way in 9 decades. He and his wife of 63 years, the former Mabel Myrtle Crum, have 3 living children. The oldest is Clarence Harrison Hoiles, Executive Vice President of Freedom Newspapers Incorporated and co-publisher of the Register.
I've had the unique experience of being associated with R.C. in business for 41 years. On top of this, I've had a normal, fine father-son relationship. From both of these instances, I have learned a great deal, for which I'm extremely thankful.
Another son, Harry Howard Hoiles, is publisher of the Colorado Springs Gazette Telegraph.
R.C. is one of the most dedicated newspapermen I have ever known. He has been bombed, threatened, and faced with financial ruin, yet he never wavered from his goals, for him synonymous with his ideals.
And R.C.'s daughter, Mary Jane Hoiles Hardy, lives near Marysville, California, where her husband, Robert, is publisher of the Appeal Democrat.
He's always been interested in learning, both for himself and helping others, and especially his children and grandchildren. He's still learning, and he thinks that other people should be learning too. And I think that's one of the gifts that he's given to all of us, is to keep learning all your life.
It has been said of great men down through history that they